In 1941, the federal government and the Detroit Housing Commission approved the Sojourner Truth Housing Project, a 200-unit development designed to house Black defense workers during World War II. But when white residents nearby protested, demanding the project be restricted to white occupants, federal officials promised to find another site for Black workers. However, after failing to secure an alternative location, these workers fought back for the right to move into Sojourner Truth, leading to violent clashes and protests that escalated tensions in Detroit. White residents formed the 7 Mile Fenelon Improvement Association, fiercely opposing the project. They staged protests, picket lines, and lobbied city officials and congressmen to block Black occupancy. The opposition was so intense that the federal government shifted its stance multiple times on who would live in Sojourner Truth, even at one point considering it as a white-only project in 1941. But after more protests and demonstrations, city officials promised the housing to Black workers, triggering even more violent resistance from white residents. On February 28, 1942, the first Black families moved in, but the day was marked by chaos. Thousands of protesters flooded the streets, and the situation turned violent. 40 people were injured, 220 arrested, and 109 held for trial. Almost all those arrested were Black. This eruption of violence set a dangerous precedent, leading the Detroit Housing Commission to enforce racial segregation in all future public housing projects. As a result, white segregationists used the threat of further riots to prevent political support for public housing, and the DHC pledged to uphold the racial patterns of neighborhoods in its projects. Over the years, the Sojourner Truth Housing Project was altered, with 26 of the original 46 buildings demolished by 1981. But the remaining 20 structures were recognized as a historic district and listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The story of Sojourner Truth is a powerful reminder of the fierce battles over housing, race, and power in Detroit during a time of intense social and racial conflict.